US National Security Advisor Brzezinski flew to Pakistan to set about rallying resistance. He wanted to arm the Mujahideen without revealing America's role. On the Afghan border near the Khyber Pass, he urged the soldiers of God to redouble their efforts.
We know of their deep belief in God, and we are confident that their struggle will succeed. That land over there is yours. You'll go back to it one day because your fight will prevail and you'll have your homes and your mosques back again because your cause is right and God is on your side.
In January 1980, the then President of the United States, Jimmy Carter, condemned the Russian invasion and communist takeover of Afghanistan.
This is a callous violation of international law and the United Nations Charter. It is a deliberate effort of a powerful atheistic government to subjugate an independent Islamic people.
The Soviet superpower ignored world opinion, but they were confronted with an Islamic resistance as 250,000 fighters picked up arms to defend the Muslims of Afghanistan.
It unified Muslims from across the world in opposing the atheistic regime of communism that the Russians tried to impose on Afghanistan, which was a Muslim state.
This struggle against infidel Russian invaders was called a jihad, a holy war. Fighting this oppression was considered a religious duty, as the Quran and the Kalashnikov shared the battlefield.
In the kind of ether of geopolitics, where they abstract human society to these kind of counters and they play the board like a risk game, okay? They forget about the complex human equation. So in Brzezinski's case, it was a brilliant geopolitical move. Brzezinski, by the way, is a self-conscious student of Mackinder. He writes about Mackinder, he applies Mackinder. And his was a bold geopolitical move. What he did was he used radical Islam, drove it like a knife, like a wedge into the heart of the world island, Soviet Central Asia. And then he sheared away Eastern Europe, liberated the Eastern Europe.
By weakening the Soviet Empire.
Exactly. It was a bold geopolitical strike through Soviet Central Asia, okay, and 3,000 miles to the west, you liberate Eastern Europe. And he was asked in an interview in a French publication in the 1990s, what about Osama bin Laden? What about Islamic terrorism? And he said, and it's wonderfully well, he said, look, what is more important in the history of the world? The liberation of Eastern Europe or a few stirred up Muslims?
We'll come back to that.
The Al-Qaeda was essentially a kind of a byproduct of Brzezinski's campaign to embarrass the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. They weren't in Afghanistan at that time. Brzezinski boasted later that he was responsible for drawing them into Afghanistan. And he did this extraordinary interview with Le Nouvel Observateur in France, and they said, but aren't you worried that you've created this whole new force of Al-Qaeda? And he said, oh, what's more important, a few crazed Islamists or the fall of the Berlin Wall? And they said, but you know, is there no danger? Aren't they dangerous? And he said, nonsense. He said all this in 1998. So I knew Brzezinski at McGill University. We were students together and took very small classes together. And in some ways he's bright, and in some ways he's kind of nuts.
The Mujahideen, or holy warriors, were depicted at the time as freedom fighters. President Ronald Reagan blessed this holy war with billions of dollars and state-of-the-art weaponry. Then, to world astonishment, the Mujahideen defeated the Soviet army as communism was conquered in the mountains of Afghanistan.
The notion of Soviet invulnerability, of Soviet invincibility, of Soviet historical inevitability was shattered.
Jim Friedel in Hoboken said it appeared to bank sharply and smash directly, perhaps purposefully, into, oh my goodness,
oh God,
there's another one. Oh my goodness, there's another one.
It seems to be on purpose.
Oh my goodness, now now it's obvious, I think, that
the people we are fighting today, we funded 20 years ago. And we did it because we were locked in this struggle with the Soviet Union. They invaded Afghanistan, and we did not want to see them control Central Asia. And we went to work. And it was President Reagan, in partnership with the Congress, led by Democrats, who said, you know what, sounds like a pretty good idea. Let's deal with the ISI and the Pakistani military, and let's go recruit these Mujahideen, and that's great. Let's get some to come from Saudi Arabia and other places, importing their Wahhabi brand of Islam so that we can go beat the Soviet Union. And guess what? They retreated. They lost billions of dollars, and it led to the collapse of the Soviet Union. So there's a very strong argument, which is, it wasn't a bad investment to end the Soviet Union, but let's be careful what we sow because we will harvest. So we then left Pakistan. We said, okay, fine. You deal with the stingers that we've left all over your country. You deal with the mines that are along the border. And by the way, we don't want to have anything to do with you. In fact, we're sanctioning you. So we stopped dealing with the Pakistani military and with ISI, and we now are making up for a lot of lost time.